Welcome. I'm Rebecca Fagan, the Club Retention Chair for District 24, and today we are going to be talking about recruiting. And the best tool that I can think of for recruiting is designing an avatar, a representation of your club and of your prospect. So what we're going to do is we're going to examine all the stuff that we need to know in order to make sure that we can get the most mileage, I guess, out of what our clubs already do well. So this is the thing. This is a conversation that we have nearly every club I belong to and every club I've ever coached. We need more members. What can we do? Somebody will come up with the idea. Put up flyers, advertise on Facebook, put something in Instagram, talk to any person within 3 feet of you, advertise on radio and community pages on TV, put ads in the grocery store, email everyone you know, and then they take a big gasp because they said that whole sentence in one breath. So what happens in the next meeting? No visitors, no calls, no email responses, the same questions asked and answered. And the next meeting gets no new visitors either. Well, this doesn't work. How did you hear about the club you currently belong to? You got invited and you showed up with a friend? You saw an ad on the bulletin board? You were told by your supervisor you had to join? How many clubs did you visit before you found the club that was just right? What kept you coming back? Too many times we make our message say, we can help everyone with everything. It doesn't matter that it is true. Who's going to believe a message like that? The first concept we have to understand is that these clubs that are low member are not broken. They already know what they need to do. They just don't know how to go about it. So let's think of it like a doctor's office. In the waiting room, you'll see a patient that has a cold. This one has a sprain. That one has a cut on his foot. And what are they all thinking? We want to get fixed. Absolutely. They don't want to keep coming back to solve the same problem that they've been having in the first week, or the week after that, or the week after that. They don't want to still be coming back to fix something that should have been fixed on the first visit. The doctor should say, here's the medicine, here's the brace, here are the stitches, and then they're done. But in Toastmasters, we keep returning because it's more of a school than a doctor's visit. They're not trying to get fixed. They're trying to get enhanced. You keep returning because there's no limit to how much you gain and how far along you get on your path. It's the same as going to the gym. You get stronger. And you get fitter and you start feeling better. And you return to the gym as long as you see improvement. The difference is that the gym and the school start out by asking what the participant wants out of the program. The doctor asks what needs to be fixed. The participant goes to the gym or the class because there's something specific they're looking for. You don't go to the doctor and say, make me feel better, and then not tell him what needs fixing. No, just like you don't go to the gym and say, make me look better. Or go to the school and say, make me smarter. We cannot approach recruiting into a Toastmasters club with that wide of a focus either. We must specify what kind of problems we can solve for our prospective members. We don't just tell them they need to come because they're doing everything wrong. What kind of people do we want to attract? That's the right question. It depends on the club, because each club has a fingerprint that in that it embodies a unique culture. So, what is your typical member like? Have you looked at your club to determine what everyone has in common? A very wise man once said, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. John Maxwell, noted leadership guru, has written over 100 books, hosted semi-annual training and certification events, then countless seminars, webinars, and a minute with Maxwell presentations, and he caters his teaching and his activities to the leadership aspect of business and volunteer organizations. He is a leader who attracts people who wish to lead. Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters, worked with young men in the YMCA. He was an excellent communicator and coach. Now, why do we consider him a coach? Because he involved the members in helping each other improve their speaking abilities, listening skills, and leadership skills. The clubs could go on without his physical presence because they learned from a great role model. When we coach clubs, we want the members to save their own clubs. In other words, we're coaching future coaches. We don't have just one speaker. We have a club full of speakers. Just like we don't have one person in the club that does the evaluations and another one that exclusively comes up with the table topics. We are all going to be coaches of some sort. We are working with each other, and the better we coach, the more vibrant our club becomes. Now, not everyone coming into our club wants to be a leader, but when they are out into the world, they will have the skills should they be needed. Not everybody wants to be a public speaker, but they will be able to speak at a school board meeting or inspire a graduating class if they are asked. Just like not everybody's going to go out and be a coach. But if they understand the principles behind the coaching, they can make sure their club does not dissolve. And that makes for good retention. Mr. Smedley was a master communicator and a coach that attracted people who wanted to have those skills. Now let's look at some other groups. What kinds of people join a bowling team? What kind of people are attracted to a church softball league? These are all very specific interest groups. If, however, you advertise your group as a sports club, what kind of response are you going to get? You're going to have people showing up with footballs and cricket bats, in leotards and mountain climbing gear, hockey skates and figure skates. You may even get some that show up with beer and pretzels, thinking it's a good place to watch and cheer for their favorite sports teams. None of them will stay. You aren't serving a need that people have. You certainly aren't solving a problem for your potential members. What are their prospective members' trigger words? What makes people stop their scroll? What is their clickbait? Do you speak their language? Who speaks their language? Who speaks your language? What do they like? What do they hate? What advertisements will pop up on their Facebook pages or Instagram? What makes them click and read the rest of the story? Why do I want to hang out with these people? Are they my age? What makes them tick? What kind of movies do they like? Are they happy? If their lives were perfect, how would they know? What do all of these people have in common? Why would you like being with them? The thing is, people won't need a club if they have their lives together. They're looking for something to fill in a perceived gap or a void in their life, for fun, for new skills, for new friends, for the feeling of acceptance, for self-improvement. Let's go back to the other groups. Why would people join a bowling team? Well, they like to bowl. There's an emotional component as well. It makes them feel good. They like the camaraderie, the food, the atmosphere. Now we look at the logical aspect. It's a way to get exercise, to improve eye-hand coordination, connect with team members who might live in the same neighborhood or even work in the same business. It allows people to express themselves and release stress. They will come in for the skills, but they will stay for the emotions. People must have a reason to try a new activity. There is a need to be fulfilled. It may require a person to give up something to get something. They may have to give up 2 hours of TV to go to a meeting. Will it be worth it? To find out what your club has to offer that people would sacrifice for, look at your current members. There is a group called Capital Voices. You think that they'd capitalize on their name and association and attract speechwriters, politicians, and lobbyists. They don't market themselves that way. Their purpose is not clear because they're targeting everyone instead of a specific group. They're a Toastmasters club that caters to everyone in the city, and not a single member is involved in politics of the state. Their avatar is like that little stick guy that you see on the back windows of cars. In order to clarify our audience, to identify our avatar, we need to address the needs, and that's spelled N-E-A-D-S, of the club and the perceived needs of our potential members. Now, the N stands for now. What does the club do well now? You need to be as specific as possible. What can this particular club provide for its members? What are the best parts of the meeting? What value do the members take from attending? Do they go home with a new perspective? Can they expand their influence? Especially in worthwhile projects? These are things to consider when you look at the club. Now, if we look at the prospect, what does he need now? What problems does this prospect want to address? How can the club fill that gap? Imagine that your prospect is one step away from success and that our club has the tools to help that prospect bridge that step. What do we have to offer? What would it be? What kind of impact can we make? Now, the second thing that we need to do is look at the E, which is enjoy. Now, we find out why people keep coming back to your club. What is the environment, the atmosphere? What's the draw? Is it intellectual? Is it accomplishment? Is it the camaraderie, the support? Is it measuring the progress on a way to a specific goal? Is it a deeper friendship? Is it exposure to more diversity? People outside our social circles, educational levels, vocations, physical location. Take a look at all of those. Write those down. Now, what does the prospective member enjoy? Is it belonging to a cause bigger than himself? Is it a shared interest? Comparing notes. Is it being able to make a difference and becoming a significant person? Can any of this be provided by your club? Can he see improvement by coming to your club? Does he enjoy telling stories? Where else? What better place could he be than at a Toastmasters meeting? What if he likes leading projects? Wouldn't it be great if he could practice here in a safe environment and then lead at his job? Meeting new and exciting people. Sometimes that makes people nervous. Sometimes it is the only reason they come to the club. Now, the next thing is alter. If you were to have a meeting that you could charge outsiders admission, how would your meeting be different? What could make your club stand out against a sea of indiscriminate groups and promise self-growth and fall so far short? If you could have a meeting that you could charge outsiders to watch, how would your meeting be different? Well, here's one. Tongue is firmly in the cheek. Come to Zookeeper's Toastmasters. Our theme on Thursday will be how to train your dragon. Please bring your own dragon. For those of you who are guests, please dress appropriately in fire retardant material. The cover charge is $150 to cover the insurance for the venue. Would you go to a club like that? I'd be banging on the door, let me in, let me in. Now, the needs of recruiting when we're working with a prospect is find out what your prospect hates about his circumstances. If there was one thing he could change, what would it be? A new job, a new partner, a new location. That's Harry Potter's room. Freedom to do volunteer activities. More productive use of time other than watching the clock. This is the button we need to stand on. We find out what they hate and then promise them that we can change their circumstances. Because can we? Yes, we can. After we have shown them what they hate and shown them what they love, and that they can get both from our group, now they have to make a decision, and so do we. The D in decide is one of the most difficult parts of this whole thing. Because after identifying what our market is and discovering what our prospect avatar is, we must decide how we are going to accomplish this task. We have to first decide to change and then decide what to change. Are your meetings boring? Are you scrambling for new people every time that you comes to a dues period? Are you scrambling for roles at the beginning of every meeting? What can you do to make your actual meeting better? We must decide how we are going to accomplish this task of bringing more people into this circle of bliss that is our club. It's not a decision to be taken lightly, and it will require commitment and focus. We have to find out how much they really care about continuing the club. We have to determine whether or not we know what our ultimate goal is. What is the outcome that we are looking for? How many people are we going to have? Is 10 enough? We want to go for 20. How about 40? How about 60? Why not? We have to determine the cost. Now, sometimes when you're looking at costs, that's the first thing that people will back off of. It's going to cost too much. I don't know. Is the club worth it? There is one club I know that I would absolutely hate to see fold, It meets on Monday mornings at dark 30 in the morning on a Monday. Now think about it, on a Monday. But if you go to the meeting, the rest of your week goes great. And if you don't go to the meeting, is it Friday yet? No, it's Tuesday at 3:30. Oh no. So you can understand that. Now, one of the things that the prospect has to look at is, what is the one thing they can do right now that would make a difference? Is Toastmasters the first step? How important is their goal? Now they're looking for either leadership or for speaking ability. But the goal is theirs, not ours. Does this club offer what he needs? Well, of course we do. We're Toastmasters. So once we have decided that, yes, it's worth the effort, then we go on to our solution. Now, this is where we put the steps in place to accomplish the goal. What can be done in the setup? What kind of paperwork needs to be done? What kind of room arrangement? Who's going to take care of all the Zoom calls? How do we work things in our agenda to make sure that every role is covered and everyone gets a chance to speak? What will take time? What is going to take the longest amount of time? Well, figuring out a speechcraft takes some time. Figuring out an event that you want to promote takes time. Figuring out a contest is going to take time. So there are some things that you can do all at the same time, and some things that you have to plan way, way, way far ahead. How will we make use of our avatar to place the information where they can see it? So we know what our avatar looks like. We know where they like to shop. We know that they like to go bowling on Tuesdays. They know that they get together and do some sort of sports activity on the weekend. We know all of that stuff. That's where we focus our marketing, right where they're going to see it. Because then they say, oh, this club contains people that like the kind of stuff I like. And if they see that in their places, then they will react. What can you do so that every meeting is an event you could charge for? What could you do that people would say, oh, you've got to go to this meeting. I know it costs a lot of money, but you would never believe the stuff that they do in this meeting. And then they get there and find out that it's free. Huh? Well, okay. So yeah, there's going to be some dues, but they're not going to be charged $150 per every meeting. Would they be willing to do that? I know people that would. We can't downplay how awesome this whole thing is going to be. The prospect has to start putting steps into place as well. Does this club meet his needs? That's a decision he needs to make. How fast or slow do I have to go? As fast or slow as you want to go. It's self-directed. Will I have help? You will have not only a one-to-one mentor, but everyone in the club is invested in your success. You'll have all the help you need. Is it worth the cost? I don't know. This is a problem that we have, is that we jump in and say, yes, yes, it's worth the cost. Yes, absolutely. Find somebody in your club that is sort of like your prospect, looking for the same type of goals, and have them give a one-on-one. Well, I can't tell you whether it's going to be worth it to you, but for me, and then give their little elevator story, what being in the group has done. Can I work with this club? Make it so that he can work with this club. Remember that not only is the club not broken, neither is the prospect. We are not here to fix, but to enhance. If you would like some more information on the Coach's Corner, where you can see all kinds of different information about this recruiting and retaining people and improving their meetings, go to Coach's Corner, which is coach-s-corner.com. And we meet on the Mondays, second and fourth Mondays of the month at 8:30 Central Time, p.m.